Hey, what's up everybody? It's Mike V with Bombero Bus, and that is a hurricane. Every one of the videos I make has rain in the background. Well, today, rain again. And it's
because I've had enough of this. It is kind of fun though, but it stops me from driving my Volkswagens.
Well, at least I had the day off, and the gist of it has passed us by. So it gave me time to sit here and look at some of these parts I just ordered. All the parts look okay, but one in particular could be a problem, but there seems to be a solution. Well, if you look at these cylinders, they're cast, and they're cast horribly. And these fins, they look nice and deep, but right here where they get to the cast, there's dabs, and air will not pass through there. It runs into a brick wall, and I'll bring you in closer to show you that. But before we look any closer, in all fairness, I'd like to say that we have already used these with success on a recent build for a 1679, and in no way am I dogging out these cylinders. It's just a personal preference that, I don't like to see. And so I know what I'm going to do to, try and fix it, but maybe it's no big deal at all. It's just something I'm pointing out. Okay, so there's the seam where these parts were cast. And then another thing to notice is, look at how the fins don't even line up. They're stagger stepped almost. It's not like that on all of them, but two of them were definitely worse than the others. So, they're not even, the fins aren't even lined up. And the other thing to look at is we'll try to follow this, one of these grooves. Look at how deep that groove is right there. Okay, that's nice. Air's going to pass through there. Well, now watch as we come around, deep groove. Then we hit the seam and brick wall. So no air is going to pass across that. And even from this angle, you can see the groove is gone. And then as we travel back around, look at how deep that groove gets again. That's how it's supposed to be. So the point is right here, where the seam is on the cast, I'm going to take a Dremel now, extra work for me. And I'm going to have to, knock those out with my Dremel tool. And it's on both sides and on every cylinder. So I don't know if this is a common problem or what, but I'll show you how I'm going to deal with it. And let's look at the silhouette of that cylinder as it penetrates the fins. So look how deep these fins go till they get to the actual liner. And that's on both sides. And as we travel down, you can see a consistent thickness of this liner. And it's the fins that distance grows. So when you get to the seam on it, let's see if I can turn it where here's the seam. Let's turn it where you can see that silhouette. Look at the consistency of the grooves, even the seam on this side. So very much different than the aftermarket cast ones that I received. And that's to be expected to some degree, but the ones I got were pretty bad, and I felt like I had to take a Dremel to them, and I did. Okay, this here is just showing, you know, basically that we did check the piston ring gap. So I'm gonna zoom you in a little bit, and you can see the 4 dots. That doesn't mean this is cylinder number 4 just yet. It's just the way I'm organizing the rings and the pistons to the cylinders for now, but their placement on the engine is yet to be known. So I've done these, the 1, 2, and 3. So I've taken the piston out of here. I've taken the rings off of the piston. And then now with this cylinder upside down, I'm going to go ahead and check for that piston gap clearance. So I'm just putting it in, and I don't know. The official manual says push it down about 1/4 of an inch, but I'm going to push it down to about right there, and use this piston to get it down, everything nice and flat and level. Now let's check that gap. Now I'll start with the, I don't know, let's see what whips out. A 14. Let's try to sneak a 14 in there. Okay, a 14. I'm going to go in about halfway. Yep, that's even better. So 13th thou. And there's the 14 again. Let's see. And I can't quite get the 14th thou in. It goes about 1/3 of the way, and then I would have to force it, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to write that down as 13,000 on the top ring, which is the one I put in there. All right, let's get that top ring out. And you know, I put it in the way it was going to go, so you can see it has, well, I doubt you can, but it says top on it. So it was flipped over to the top of the piston. Same with this one. You can still tell because the middle ring has this kind of ledge out on the side, but they were still nice enough to put the word top. So since the cylinder is upside down, we'll do that. I'm going to get this ring in here and use that piston again. Okay. Start with the 14th thou again. Okay, that one went right away. So 14 thousandths on that middle. Okay, and those two rings are coming out to 26 grams. So if we look here, I had 27 grams for the rings for cylinder 1, piston 1, 2, and 3 were all 27 grams. I'll check this again. Okay, and the rings for the last one are going to be 26 grams. So we have a gram of difference there. And so we can see from our book that the upper compression ring tolerance for a 1600 is 12 to 18 thousandths. For a 17, 18, and 2-liter engine, it's 14 to 22 thousandths. So let's look at our upper rings here. 18,000, 18,000, 15,000, 14,000. So whichever one of these you wanted to use, which this is an 1800, all of those are in tolerance, and I don't need to open up the gap on any of those. Let's look at the lower compression one, the middle ring. Same for 1600, 12 to 18 thousandths, 12 to 22 thousandths for the bigger engines. So as long as we're above 12, we should be okay. And on all of ours, we have 14,000, 14, 16, and 14. So again, we're still within spec on that, and I don't need to open any of those up. And then one thing I'll check when I get the pistons, the rings back in the piston, is their side clearance. So that's going to be the up and down travel from the landing, and here are the specs for that. But I can tell you, when I pulled them the first time, I did slide a filler gauge in there, and the first one was within spec. So it's just to show that these things are getting done and that the numbers do matter, and that those numbers are good, and that's out at sea. It's official. And we'll also officially end this video. So what we did was identify some casting flaws in these cylinders, and what I chose to do to fix those, we pulled the pistons and the rings out, we weighed the pistons, we weighed the rings. Everything seemed to be within good tolerance of each other. And then we checked our ring gaps for the upper and the lowers. So they seem to mesh with the numbers that I got out of the book. Not going to have to open any of them up. Initially, I thought I did. I thought that the ring gap needed to be 18 thou, and this one was. So when this one hit 15 thou, I thought I needed to open it up. But that's before I looked in the book. I don't know where I got the 18 thousandths number in my head, but that's why it's good to have a book to assist you on your build, unless you're just like 30-year veteran. And I know a lot of this is the boring stuff, so this video was probably boring in that way, but it's just to show that the due diligence was taken and that these numbers matter. We still have more measurements to take. For example, the rod journals to the rod bearings and the clearances there, but we're taking it one step at a time as we go. And so here's where we are. Thanks for watching. If any of this helped you, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave some comments, and we'll see you on the next one.